Can you hear the music?
I can't.
You can't hear it?
No, I got it.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't.
Yeah, I can get it.
Seems to be more on the I can hear it side lately than it has been.
Yeah, no, it's coming towards good.
Makes me want to kick a fat kid on Sunday.
Something.
Some shit like that.
Something to get fired up with.
Yeah, this gets me right amped.
If I had long hair, I'd be, going with it.
Oh, bro, me too. Shit. Welcome back to another episode of On the Throne with Dick, and shout out to Senjin Boychuk, man. That guy's incredible, that intro, outro music. Man, I don't know, I first got hooked up with that guy 2 years ago from another guest who hooked me up with another guest who actually with that guest I was hooked up to from someone else. And it was just a wild string of events that led to that and the intro outro music. So, shout out to that guy. I love that guy.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Nah, dude, it's all about connection, am I right?
That's it, man. That's it.
about
The string theory, right? Something like that.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
Something along those.
I'm pretty pumped for this week to have Jaron Lyle on the podcast. What's going on, man? I love your videos. I love your content.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That means a lot. Hey, am I lagging on your screen? It looks like I'm lagging on my screen.
Yeah, you're lagging on my screen a bit. I don't know if it's your service or mine. I don't know. It says here my service is good, but
it shows that mine is good, but I'm in my hotel, so it's like that's kind of
yeah. I've lived that life. I've lived that life, where I had to go sit out in the truck and record on, just 5G or 4G or whatever. I've done that. I think 2 summers ago, the podcast was in its first summer, and I couldn't find anywhere to record in a hotel room. So I would take the drawers out of the side drawers and stuff, and I would hook the tripods up to that thing. And then one day I got really creative and I used the iron board and I sat on the bed. Yeah. And we called that the iron board sessions, like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Shout out to Gord from the Second Act podcast for coming up with that one.
Right. Well, let me know if we need to do something on it and we'll make some quick adjustments.
It's up to you, man. It's up to you. I think it should be all right.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know. Are you on the Wi-Fi?
I'm on the Wi-Fi, but I can run to my truck real fast and we'll just drive down the way the hotel is. It sucks, but we can. I can run out to the truck real fast and we can see if maybe the lighting and the service would be a little bit better. I just don't want it to be glitching.
It's up to you. You do what you think you need to do. Like I can't ask you to use your cell service. So yeah, I don't know.
I think we'll be all right.
I think
we'll be all right.
I think we'll be good. I think it might. So I think the new program, the way it records is like it records in like it fixes itself in the end, right? But if it doesn't, I mean, you know what? I'll throw the video up anyway. And hey, if people don't like the laggy if they don't, hey, you know what? If they can't handle Jaron at his laggiest and they don't
right. And it was going good before we hit record. So that's why I was just saying, like,
always does that. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we'll be all right then.
Always does that. I've noticed that when I do have issues, right? Before I hit record, it's fine. As soon as I hit record, it's like that bandwidth just, kicks in, right?
Well, maybe that'll be it. And whenever it gets done and stuff, it's just for this recording purpose. So
hell yeah, man. Well, hey, we'll see. But there's no lag in our conversation. Like the moment I say something at you, you spit it back, and there's no lag there. You're instantly firing back at me. So
okay, perfect.
Oh yeah, man. I love the podcast game for this reason, dude. There's if it's not one thing, it's another, and you just got to roll with the punches, like blue collar, right? It's chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's tentative until it happens, right?
Yeah,
that was the message when I first got into the industry.
How long you been in blue collar?
So I've been in, I guess you'd say blue collar started in 2018. I started in the oil field. So I was on a drilling rig with a drilling company. Then got back out of it for a little bit, went back into restaurants, bartending. And then I've been in renewable energy since 2020, September of 2020.
Renewable.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I know. Everybody says, "How do you feel about green?" And I said, "Man, it fills my pockets with money." Right? I have no qualms or whatever. It's been a blessing to me financially. So,
Yeah.
that's why. As far as for all the other aspects of it go, I don't get into the semantics. I don't get into the political aspect of it. I just know that it provides an income. That I never thought was possible to a degree, and gives me some freedom to be able to do some things and to be able to provide for my family in a way. If you knew my background, that I thought was never going to be possible, right? So it's been a truly blessing. So
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
yeah.
And where are you working out of?
So I'm out of and right now the site's in Jacksboro, Texas. So
Okay.
it's a little small town. If you're familiar with Texas, in between the two major towns, what I guess would be Fort Worth and Wichita Falls. So it's kind of smack dab in the middle of there. You wouldn't know it if you're not really from here, but yeah, it's about a 5,000 acre ranch that they turned into a solar farm. So
Oh,
it's a pretty big one. Yeah, it's a pretty big one.
nice, man. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
like I work in oil and gas, right? And the
Okay.
one company that, the one of the biggest companies in Alberta anyway, in Fort Mac, they're also into solar, you know what I mean? Oil and gas is, the oil and gas companies are into solar power
Yeah.
as well because that's the future, right? They'd be stupid not to, oil and gas is going to go for many, many, many years,
Right.
decades, right? But, we're going to stop relying on it as much. And we're gonna get into other things. Wind power is dog shit, but like,
Right.
solar
Yeah.
power, like it pays for itself, dude. What's one thing that we have unlimited source of, and that's the sun, right?
Yeah.
Like unless it decides to blow up on us one of these days.
Yeah. But then we don't. I don't think it matters then at that point
Yeah, it
anymore.
don't matter anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, that boy burns out, then I think we got bigger things to worry about.
yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah, so yeah,
Yeah,
but
man.
it's been good, man. It's been good. I enjoy it.
That's good, man. So how did you get from, how did you get into the rigs? How did you get to from bartending? What made you decide, hey, you know what? Fuck this bartending shit. I'm gonna go work on a rig.
Man, now you're gonna ask some real true questions, right?
Hey.
Uh, I failed in my marriage.
Ah,
I was married at the time, and I've been bartending and stuff for a while. And I had a really good gig, and both me and her were bartending. She was at a different restaurant, and I succumbed to temptation, right? And failed in my marriage on multiple accounts. I actually have a poem that I've wrote about that. That's on my social media account that I just posted. So yeah, I committed. I was the failure in that. Uh, Committed that, and of course, so then obviously can't go back. Trying to work through the marriage, right? Trying to fix that at that time, and trying to find a job that's going to provide the same amount of money that I was making at that time. And
yeah.
I was in West Texas, so I had a bunch of friends that were in the oil field already, and so that was like the only thing that I could think of that was going to be an immediate um, income comparison. And when I got into it, man, I didn't know the difference. I say this and people laugh. It was a hard struggle for me to know the difference between a crescent, a socket, um, and an Allen wrench, right? Like that was my level of expert. I didn't really know the difference in them. So it
Hey,
was a culture shock, man, when I got into the oil field, brother.
gotta start
It,
somewhere, man.
yeah, I
That's
know,
what I
I
start
know.
from
It
the
was
bottom. Now we're midway up the bottom.
yeah, I'd always been the type of that I was just going to stimulate the economy, right?
Yeah.
Work real, real hard, and then pay other people to do their job, right? And just relax it, so not doing any time, not doing any car maintenance, any stuff like that, right? Um, and then so when I got into having to do roughnecking and tooling, obviously that's a big culture shock. But yeah, that's how I got into the oil field, and stumbled into it was a big, big mistake, to be
Yeah.
honest with you guys. Yeah.
Well, if you're
So
trying to avoid, certain temptations or,
absolutely.
trying to fix your life, going
Yeah.
going that way, doesn't always work. I met a guy actually. You might have seen his stuff on the socials. His name's Logan, and like he runs the Dad Bods and Beards podcast. And that guy
Oh,
got into blue collar to fix his mental health.
oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how it worked out, but apparently it worked out. Apparently it worked out.
I mean, I guess you can use anything, right? I mean, you can use it as an escape, and then sometimes it's too much of an escape, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, it's just I guess it's all the mindset of what you're trying to hone in on at the time, and how you want to use whatever the tools are that are necessary, you know.
Absolutely. Did you
Yeah.
eventually figure out what the difference between the tools were, or
Yeah,
like?
yeah, man. Yeah, no, I got the difference now. I'm
Yeah,
certified in all sorts of, certified spotter, certified shovel handler,
yeah, yeah,
certified
yeah. Journeyman
bandsaw.
shovel operator over here, bud.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. No, I'm good on it now, man. I'm good on it now. Actually, just about to finish the OSHA 30 for my training and stuff like that. So, I mean, all sorts of trainings and stuff been done. Yeah. So we got the wrenches down. We know the difference between a screwdriver and a hammer.
oh, good. Maybe you can explain it to me. I don't know.
Yeah, man. After the show, it's a long process, man. I've got a
Yeah,
whole spreadsheet on it with some diagrams and pictures. That usually helps me.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah. No, we're caught up to speed now, brother.
I made a video last winter. I was on site and I'm like, hold on. There was like different kind of hammers on site, and I had the shovel in my hand. I'm like, pass. Had the wrench in my hand, pass. Had the actual hammer, pass. Then I looked at my fist and I'm like, smash, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
Sometimes when sometimes it's on the job site of whatever's there, just get the thing done.
yeah.
You know.
Oh, even at home, man. I have a hammer. I have a
Yeah,
hammer. It's not being used half the time.
yeah. I
Like,
thought it's the end of the impact
yeah, yeah.
where the battery is. Isn't that it?
Yeah,
I mean,
oh yeah,
whatever
yeah.
whatever's there.
Fuck, it's only $300.
Yeah, I know. I know. We don't even think about that. It's the silliness that we do, right, to try to save time
Yeah,
and cut corners. Sometimes, right, ends up paying ends up being costly.
yeah.
Sometimes it does.
Oh,
What somebody had a really good quote one time to me that said that shortcuts lead to deep cuts. I know, and if you just take that also in the aspect of life, right? Not just in the work field, right? But you take it in the aspect of life and put that into some application into everything. And man, I mean, I look back on it, I said that's factual and fire.
bro, you said I'm glad you added pecked to the end of that because it sounded like you're like take it in the ass. I'm like, wait,
No,
what?
no, no.
What? Wait, hold up. I didn't know it was that kind of party, man. Like
No, no, no. Not that kind of party. We're not going
not
too
that kind of
crazy.
party, bro.
Yeah,
Man,
no, not that. Just on the
before
month they have 32 days.
before we go too much further, bro,
Yeah.
I want, man, I want to show me your upper thighs, bro, because like fucking those things are monsters.
You want me to pull
Fucking,
I got pants on right now. You want to do that?
no, you keep your
Okay.
pants on.
Yeah, I
You
don't have
show
shorts on. I don't have shorts on. I got pants on, so we'd have to unbutton. I can't pull the pants all the way up.
me. No, people are definitely mainly the women and maybe some of the gay dudes, dude. I have crazy stories about gay dudes on this app or on social media. Maybe you
Yeah,
have the same stories, but
yeah.
like, man, whoever's listening to this podcast, they're going looking for you now. They're like, whoa.
Man, those have been worked hard for, right?
Yeah,
Those things have been, yeah. That's
yeah,
hours in the gym and not skipping leg day. I actually
yeah.
just hit. What did I hit? I hit legs yesterday. So yeah, we're very diligent in it when we're doing it.
Oh yeah.
Training with purpose. If I'm going to be in there, for me, right? For me, I'm the type of person that I'm pretty much all in when I go all in, and I know that's real redundant, but it's like if I'm going to be in here, let's try to do the best, especially on this path that I'm currently on right now in this season of my life. Really, really maximizing anything that I'm doing and really trying to get the full squeeze out of the thing.
Yeah,
You know.
man.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
You were saying your
But I
legs,
appreciate that compliment.
yeah,
I accept that compliment, brother.
you're welcome.
Let me receive that real fast.
I'm
And
jealous.
let
I'm
these bad
jealous,
boys
man.
free trunks that I got.
I'm jealous right now, man. My left leg is currently way smaller than my right one because I broke
Okay.
my ankle 4 months ago.
Oh
And it's
wow.
not just an ankle break. I broke two bones in the ankle. I dislocated two bones. One of those bones being the talus, which
Okay.
deals with all of the movement that your foot does. Right.
Yeah. No
So
blame.
anybody that's listening to this is like, oh man, it's taking a long time to heal from this broken ankle, bro. Well, I'm sure it was just the breaks. We'd be fine.
Right.
But that talus bone that dislocated, it was the bone that connects your foot to your leg. And
Okay.
it popped out way off to the side of my foot. I was playing with the bone, man. It was kind of cool. And like
Well,
and that was dislocated, man. And like they popped it back in but like all the tendons and ligaments and shit in there and all the muscles now, dude. Oh my God. Like we're getting there. We're getting there. We can walk. I walked the other day for 10 minutes and I sat down for 18 hours afterwards.
No, I feel that, and yeah, no, I just not to compare, right, but to relate. Okay,
Yes.
I think sometimes people tell stories and people think they're one upping, right? I
Yeah.
always like to make sure that I preface it's not a comparison or a one upping; it's just a relating, right?
Yeah.
So somewhatness, right? When I was in high school, I dislocated my right thumb, and apparently the thumb is kind of like the knee joint,
Oh
where
shit.
it like has like two little balls or bones on it that kind of can like keep it together. Anyway,
Yeah.
long story short, they were like pulling me in the hospital, pulling me across the floor of the bed. They couldn't pop it back in. They had to put me under, twist my whole hand and stuff until it was like at a certain angle and pop it in. But yeah, as far as that goes, I completely understand. You would think that you just pop that in and it's good to go. It's not a break, everything's good. But you don't understand what that little dislocation and that trauma does to those ligaments and tendons in there and how long that takes to recover. It was a good long while. I was scared at one point I was going to miss my whole senior football season. Now I only ended up missing. I think I only missed the two spring games. I think everything after that was fine. I think I still played the first game of the season. But there was a one point, right, as a 17, 18-year-old kid, I'm like, I'm done. It's
Yeah.
done. Oh, my everything that I've worked for my whole high school career is over with. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I get it, man. I get it. It's when you get those ligaments and tendons in there, it's a whole nother deal.
Yeah, dude. The doctor originally said 6 weeks off. No. So this is where confusion might have happened between me and work, right? The doctor was like 6 weeks, no wait, and I'm like, I'll be back in 4. Like don't
Right, the
worry
man, the
about it.
man in us.
Yeah, the man, I'll be back in 4, right? And I told that to my boss. I'm like, oh, 6 weeks, no wait. That means in 6 weeks I'll see you, right? 6, 7 weeks, right? Well, fuck, we're 4 months into it, bud, and you know what? Like the doctor said, no wait for 6 weeks. What he said after that was, have fun recovering. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and oh man, I saw it, dude, and the ball, the ball on the side of my ankle like sheared off,
Oh,
right? So like it wasn't completely. I didn't have surgery or anything. I didn't need surgery. I got lucky, but yeah, man, like
yeah, that
fuck.
is lucky.
To back to what you were saying about how like not to compare but to relate, dude.
Mhm.
I've been dealing with that my whole life. Anytime someone says something to me, my brother-in-law and I like to get into this, right? Every time he has a story, well, I'm like, oh man, I got something crazy, right? And I tell him, and he's like, oh, you know what? I'm just not gonna tell this guy anything anymore because he's done it or had something worse. And I'm like, it took me a few years, but I finally explained. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to one up you, big dog. Like I'm relating with you. Like this is how we're bonding. And he got it. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. I'm like, I'm not here to one up anyone. If I have a story and it just happens to be cooler than yours, I'm sorry.
Right. So be it. So be
Yeah,
it.
so yeah. Fuck, dude. Yeah, no, it's the most painful part of this whole process wasn't even when it happened. It wasn't any time in the last fucking 4 months. It's over the last week. Learning how to walk and walking and then getting those muscles moving again, right? And
Oh, absolutely.
it's brutal.
Absolutely.
That's
I
painful.
just had a text message from my boss on one phone, so or a call actually. So I'm gonna text him back on this other phone real fast.
Yes, sir. You text them back, man. Yeah, I can wait a minute while you do that.
Yeah, I just want to see like it's Juneteenth today, so which is Emancipation Day in the United States. It's United States holiday, so we're not supposed to be working, but we just let's see. All right, we're good.
Is that a thing? That's a thing in the States. It's Emancipation Day where you
Yep.
guys don't work for like. Is that
My company,
okay?
the company, and I think it's something. I don't know if it's a national. I'm not sure if it's a national holiday, but it was Emancipation Day, the day that the troops came in marching into Galveston, Texas, and they essentially announced that the slaves were free, and that they were emancipated. Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, that's
yeah.
cool.
So yeah, that's the day today. So
Yeah.
and yeah,
That's
my
awesome.
company takes that day off. I believe the site is working. So they're still working, but as far as for my company and stuff, we're not working.
Yeah. Yeah, your boss is never. I was gonna say your boss is black, isn't he? You know, like
No, no. But now all of a sudden I got worried because I'm supposed to be in at 9 o'clock, and it's like, but I mean, they told us we don't have to work today, so I don't really
okay.
know what's. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it
So
good.
so now you're doing solar, right? Like
Yes, sir. Yep.
now you're doing so. I like. So how did you left the oil field? Like,
Mhm.
why'd you leave the oil field? You decided like fuck it. I came here to get right, and like the wrong place to do that, or what?
Yeah, well, it was really taking a toll on trying to get back with and trying to work everything out. The 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and everything was real tumultuous at that time. I think I
Yeah.
pronounced that word right. It was real volatile. Okay, and so a job opened up to get back into the restaurant industry actually, and she was. It ended up we agreed or unspokenness that I quit the oil field and came back.
Yeah.
Uh, and so we're seeing it last long. Um, as far as for working at that job, ended up moving away. We separated, and then that was in 2019. And then COVID hit. So I stayed in the industry. I stayed back in the service industry from about May of 2019 to the end of 2019. Right, and stayed in the service industry, and then thought that I was gonna, let's say, how do you want to say this? Um, be Al Capone, right? Let's say that. Okay.
Yeah.
At that time in my life. So 2020, I thought that that's what I was going to do. And so I quit my job 2 weeks before COVID hit, 2 weeks before they did unemployment, 2 weeks before the stimulus. So,
Oh shit.
yeah. So everybody got unemployment stimulus checks, right? Whatever their unemployment was, $600 plus an 800 every week. And I got nothing,
Oh,
right?
brutal.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But, it's just a story. It's just how it goes. That's what I get for trying to be Al Capone. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So 2020 for about 9 months, 9 months of it was doing that. And I was dying. Okay. I was dying, literally. And I made a phone call to my ex mother-in-law, actually, and she let me move in with her, get away from where I was at. Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's a lifesaver. I still talk to her this day. Very, very uh, important person. Has been a a catalyst at times for me to be able to change some things.
It's
Moved
good.
in with her, right? Moved in with her. Got into the working at a restaurant. I'm in Amarillo, Texas, and I'm not like I don't want to do this, right? I'm like, man, I'm so tired of the restaurant industry. What else can I do? And I had some friends that were in renewable energy on wind turbines. So when I got into the oil field, I didn't know that there was different levels of the oil field. I didn't know you had production. I didn't know you had drilling. I didn't know you had fracking. I didn't know anything. Okay, I just thought there was only one thing: apply. Right. Then once I got into it, I learned that you could have applied for a lot of different things
Oh,
and
yeah.
probably got paid kind of the same amount and not done near as hard of work as been a floor hand on a drilling rig. So, so I called a buddy and I said, "Man, look, I'm not looking for a job. I just want to know what company to apply for and what position to apply for and why." That was it. And he, long story short, man, connected me with his roommate at that time, who was the general foreman slash superintendent of fiber optics for the company. So I got hired on and started terming fiber. He told me, this is what he told me. He goes, "Man, my roommate and my friend, he's hiring for a fiber termination technician." And I said, "Dude, I don't know anything about fiber." And he's like, "Well, this is what it pays." And he told me, and he goes, "Go look it up, call me back." And all I heard was the pay. So I hang up the phone. Listen, dude, I can't make this up. I wish I could. I hang up the phone and I look at my phone and I go 1, 2, and I count to 10. Okay. I call him back and I go, "I'll take it." I didn't look up anything of what fiber was. At that time, I just said, I'll do it. Right. I started doing the math on it real fast, and it was way more money than I was making at that time. And so I didn't care. I didn't care what it was going to be doing. Right. I just jumped in it. And that's how renewable energy, started. Was a phone call. I guess it would be, you'd say, the gift of desperation and humility to just kind of ask for a friend of just to help me out.
Yeah.
And I got put on, right? You talked about it. You know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and to get out of myself, get out of pride, and just been like, look, man, I'll just ask a question, and that question turned into a career. So
That's
yeah,
awesome, dude. Love
yeah.
that.
Now we've had a lot of ups and downs in the last. We're coming up on 5 years in September. We've had a lot of ups and downs in 5 years, and struggles in itself. Right? It has been a roller coaster, but uh, the career has been a blessing in the midst of that. Right? So
Yeah,
been good.
absolutely. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. Man, there was this woman. I was cruising Twitter the other day, right? Speaking of, asking for help and
Yeah.
taking whatever comes your way just because you need something, desperation and hope, right? There's this woman who posted on Twitter the picture of this guy, and he was standing outside, and she posted he's not begging for money, but he is begging for a job, right? And I'm like, whoa, that's cool. Usually those people are like, hey, need help, got spare change. That'll help,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
This
Yeah.
guy was like, need help, I need a job, right? And he's got his class 3, which is CDL, right? You can
Yeah.
drive your yeah. So she put his picture on there, and she big paragraph and his phone number. So
Okay.
I text him. I'm like, hey, brother, he's just south of me, like an hour and a half south. He was staying in a Costco parking lot, and this guy wanted a job. So I text him. I'm like, hey, brother, like I heard you're looking for work. And one fellow, I live in Alberta, and like one fellow Albertan to another, like I've been there, I've needed a job, and I wish someone would have helped me out, but I didn't get that. And so I sent him a couple places that I've worked, and the place that I do work currently, and I sent him the number and the emails and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, you
Yeah.
can get to a library, fire your email off, right? Here's their phone number. The guy called me like 90 times that day. He can't get to a library, right? He's like, can I send you my resume? I'm like, honestly, bro, like, yeah, I guess you could, but like, here, maybe they'll help you out this way, right? Because like, remember, sticking your neck out on for someone that you don't know is
Yeah.
bad.
It can be a little. Yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit scary. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that. I did
Even
that.
sticking your neck out for somebody you do know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So where's his number here? Yeah. His name here is Alan. And I text him, and I text him all that. He kept calling me, and I'm like, man, I can't. You just call the numbers, and maybe they'll give you that phone interview or whatever. It's the oil field, right? No one looks at a resume these days, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
like, are you a felon? Are you divorced? Can you read? Yes, yes, nope, you're hired, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
that's how it feels like.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so he called me a bunch more times after that, and I'm like, hey man, I'm just sitting here, I'm dealing with things, right? Like I said, I had got into a car accident a couple weeks ago, and rode off my car. It wasn't our fault, and it feels like I've been punished every day since. This shit
Right.
I've been dealing with. And we finally squared that away. I was just sitting back, relaxing, like thinking about how hectic the last couple weeks have been, and it's finally over. And this guy calls me like 4 times in a row, and I text him like, listen, man, I'm just hanging out with my family right now. I'm not ignoring you or anything like that. Just, like, I'm just hanging out with my family. We're just relaxing. And he's like, oh, sorry, man, I pocket dialed you. And he hasn't called me since. Right. I'm going to text him here tomorrow and see if he got anywhere with the numbers and stuff I gave
Yeah.
him. It's just, back to your point about helping people out and being humble and shit like that. The guy sounds pretty cool. So, I hope, if he gets on with us, I hope it works out for him. So,
Right.
and then I'll be like, by the way, that was me, like,
Yeah. And my story, man, I've had a few key pivotal pieces. We'll say that, right? The main one, the main character alongside me is my father. Uh, my father is if God is real, all right, my father is the closest thing to him for me on this earth.
damn.
Uh, that is the most incredible person I've ever met. So my father always has been a person that stands by me and believes in me no matter what mistakes I've made in my life.
Yeah.
And then there's been some other people that have come along the way. and also tremendously helped me out, right? And said, you know what, like we see what you're doing, but we believe in who you are, right? And a lot of the times, right, that's hard for people to separate. So
Yeah.
sometimes people say that, oh, well, you've been doing this for so long, you keep going back to it. Which one is you, you know? And but for people to continue to say they believe in you until you believe in yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I've had a few of those people. That have partnered in my journey, in my life, in my story, and have really just been, I use the word again, catalysts for me to continue the steps forward. Right.
Hell yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Well, your mother-in-law, dude, your former mother-in-law,
Yeah.
that's amazing. You broke her little girl's heart, and she
Yeah.
was still more than willing to like help you out, dude. That's incredible.
Yeah. She just had her birthday on again, another American Day, Flag Day. And yeah, I know. Dropping just American holidays in this motherfucker. Um, but uh, but yeah, it takes her happy birthday, and we've got into a conversation about a side topic, and she still calls me her son. Um, she still says that, and it's just one of those things where she's that type of person. If she picks you, she picks you, right? And once she picks you, it doesn't matter what you're going to do or what you do. You're her kid, and so she has, she's given me that mantle. And yeah, an incredible person for me. So
Yeah, if she thinks of you as her son, that'd have been
yeah,
real awkward, and you were with her daughter, you know.
yeah, no, she's been good, man. She's been
Oh,
good.
that's good, man. My mother-in-law wouldn't give me the time of day right now, and I'm with her daughter, you know, like she fucking hates me. I can
Yeah.
only imagine if we weren't together, you know, like she'd probably run me over with her car, you know.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, she's and that some people have that story too, right? And I'm not going to say that we were always the best of friends at every
Yeah,
single point of knowing each other. Um, but where the relationship is and how it's progressed, and just what she's done for me in my life, it's some things, like the only way to be able to repay her is to continue on the path that I'm on, right?
yeah,
And continue to strive for success, and to try to continue to be better and grow, which is what this season of 2025 has been, man. So
yeah.
yeah,
Hell yeah,
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, like you just said, the best way you can repay her is to not be a shitty person, right? And
yeah,
that's huge, man. I love that. I feel like I owe that to my wife, my kids, and my nana. My wife and my nana, same thing. They see things in me that I didn't see in me, and they were like,
right,
one day you're gonna see them, and you're gonna love you for you, right? And my wife, for my wife and I, I got recently got diagnosed with BPD, borderline personality disorder,
okay,
and from traumatic shit from when I was a kid, abandonment issues and shit like that, and a lot of that it explains a lot of who I am and what I have been feeling all these years, and you know man, there's been a lot of tears in the last 6 months, dude, figuring out like, oh my God, there's a reason why I do this and how I feel like this. And, the reason why I worked over 100 hours a week and, will probably continue to do so, but take a little bit of breaks here and there
right,
more,
yeah,
right. And, there's been a lot of tears. It's scary. It's scary when you start, discovering things about yourself and really feeling understood in that.
right, definitely. What is that? Borderline is going to be in cluster B. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
Cluster
think
B.
cluster B. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. So I think that it falls with the three other personality type disorders. But
You
yeah,
gotta be there. You gotta be there yourself, I guess. If
I've
you know
had
what cluster
what
B is.
would be the descriptive one would be narcissistic tendencies based upon situational events, right?
Ah,
If
there you
you
go.
if you know my life, right, I've struggled throughout it with a chemical dependency, right?
Okay.
And so in that seeking and searching of all in the name of one more, right? It's all me, 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 me. How can I get one more? I don't care about anybody else, right? So a very, very inward, godlike complex, and self-seeking and self-obsession, and so yeah, so that's I haven't been fully, my counselor didn't fully diagnose me with that. uh you could probably talk to some people and they disagree, right? I
Yeah.
feel like it's a trend right now, right, as far as to be able to say, calling some people the narcissist name, and people don't really mention the borderline disorder, which
No,
is pretty comparable with that, right? And my,
it is.
my thing is always this is like, look, man, if you or if you want to say that somebody has a personality disorder, right? It's a big deal when you go to a doctor and you get diagnosed with that. It's not. It's like some heavy news,
It is.
right?
It is. It's like right up there
And
with when you're dying.
and
You walk over. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what? And they're like, yeah, this is what it is. So for people to think that they can throw that term around always kind of irks me a little bit. And also it shows the lack of understanding because some people like yourself, right? It's unaware and it is like a real big shock and almost like a depressing moment is what really from what you're saying too in it, right?
Yeah.
And working through that and then saying like, okay, well, how do we fix that, right? Yeah. But yeah, no,
Absolutely.
I've had my run-ins with psychology and psychiatrists, and I go to counseling still. Um, and trying to continue, like I said, trying to continue to be better, man.
Hell yeah, man.
You know,
My wife and my kids deserve the best version of me, right? And the podcast this
absolutely.
past couple months, I got the podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp now, right? Which is fucking
Okay.
dude. What's that? Oh, you got a
Nope.
phone call. Yeah.
No, I don't.
No.
It's just not.
Okay.
No, there it goes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, the podcast was recently was sponsored by BetterHelp, right? Which I
Okay.
thought that was huge. I punched up and I didn't think my podcast is not that good, right? Like no way, right? And I reached out, just why not? And they said yeah, they're in. So the podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and with that comes I see a therapist twice a week sometimes, and for sure the guy's been amazing. He's been pretty integral in helping me understand a lot of things. But with BetterHelp, there's also classes and courses and shit that you get to sit in on. And if you can't make them, they send you a copy of it and you watch it later. And one of them is DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, which is
Okay.
huge for bipolar Jesus
Borderline.
for borderline.
Yeah.
And so I've been watching that, and the first time I ever watched that was shortly after I got diagnosed, and I'm like, holy shit, like this guy is speaking to me in my language right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice sometimes when you finally feel like you're understood in a way, right? And
Absolutely.
you can see what some people are talking about, right? It is a little bit of a shock, right? It can be kind of heavy.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but depends on how you're wanting to look at it, right? And then at least then you can have a plan of action, right? Of how to progress and change behaviors as
Yeah.
opposed to just being stuck and saying, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I understand that, man, and that's awesome, man. As far as the mental health aspect of it, I'm a big firm believer in mental health. My mental health is, like I said, mentioned, has usually been deteriorated through substances. That's my story, right? And with it, and so then that mental health goes into a special niche of mental health, which is suicide awareness. I got a semicolon on the side of my face, tattooed on there. Um, and just to bring awareness to that, right? And that mental health is just a taxing thing in all of its ways, right? And it needs to be a serious conversation, not just men's mental health, but mental health across the board, right? To be taken as a serious account, that when somebody says, man, something's wrong, that we take that into account because every life matters, right?
Absolutely.
Every life matters.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we don't know how heavy someone's burdens are, right? Especially just from the outlooking on it. So yeah, that's awesome,
Absolutely.
man. That's dope. One for the sponsorship. That's exciting,
I
right?
love
And then
it.
on the real heavy level of it, right? The getting the wholeness for yourself. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It was good. And like it helps me give back to my community too, right? I started off
Absolutely.
as a blue collar and just a guy, just your average everyday guy working, my job or whatever, construction, oil field, this, that. And then I started the social media thing, and I got this somehow. I watch back at some of those older videos and I'm blown away how I ever built a platform off that shit. And and then I built this platform where other blue collar workers were now following me and laughing along with me and laughing at me, and we were having a good time. And then I started this podcast, and blue collar workers all over the world are listening, and
Yeah.
I think that's amazing, man. And getting that sponsorship was less about yes, I got a little kickback for it, but
Yeah.
you know
Absolutely.
but it was less about that and more about the code, the whatchamacallit, the savings code or whatever that came with it for my listeners. If you Frost 10 or Frosty D, I believe it is, you save 10% on your first month of therapy, right? And that's
Yeah.
10% is 10%, man. It's basically, hey, we're getting to this point where we're starting to talk about it more. More men are opening up. Well, hey, where do I start? Hey, I listen to this guy Dick Frost on the internet. I listen to his podcast. I follow his videos and stuff like that. And he's got a discount code for me to, save a little bit of money, man. Fuck yeah, man. I love this shit, dude. This
Yeah.
is me helping my people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the investment in yourself, you know what I mean? I think that, to say like, what's the worst that's going to hurt? Okay. Swallow some pride. What's the worst that's going to hurt? And just, try it out. Invest in yourself for a little bit. Give yourself some credit, right? We put so much effort into so many different things in our life and we neglect ourselves in so many different areas.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I've found that if I'm not running full speed, like you mentioned, right, you're not the best for your family. So it's trying to make sure that you're at top level to be the top level for everybody, as opposed to just running midstream, right, and being midstream for everybody. So yeah, I'd encourage everybody to at least try it, at least go talk to somebody, especially when there's some internal things and struggling, and you see patterns of behavior that you're continuing, and you notice that you don't want to do those things. Go talk to somebody. See if there can be a change.
Absolutely. So as
Yeah,
I was saying earlier, like I love your content.
I
I
appreciate it.
absolutely love your
Thank you.
content. How did you get started in what made you decide to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make videos. I'm gonna pick up the phone, put it in front of my face, and I'm gonna be inspirational as fuck today,
It didn't start
And
that. It didn't start inspirational. I'll tell you that. It I smile. So like I said, I got into renewable energy in 2020 in September, and by November, I knew that's what I wanted to do in some form or fashion. Okay, so I tattooed my neck, and at this time in 2020, I had my arms and stuff done, and a little bit on my chest, but nothing on my neck, nothing on my face, nothing on my head, nothing on my head, the back of my neck, nothing on my hands. Okay, no. If I wore a shirt, a long sleeve shirt, you would never know I was tattooed. So I got tattooed on my neck, and at that time, I'm a 32-year-old dingbat. Okay, right? Uh, and I'm just so pompously full of myself. And I wanted to take pictures of me showing off the neck tattoo. And I said, man, how can I do that without doing that? Right? How can I continue to get this attention that I'm getting, but not be so deliberately seeking it? Right? So I came up with the name Lip Singing Jaron Lyle. I started lip singing songs, just random songs, and filming myself and posting them on Instagram. And created my Instagram handle at that time in 2020 for that. That's how the whole thing started. So 2020, 2021, right there at the beginning of it, of doing that. Yeah, it was a way to show off the tattoo. And then ultimately I've always listened to motivational stuff, man. I've always just really felt like a passion for that. And it's weird. I most recently had a conversation back in October, with a person that is very, very dear to my heart, and an amazing woman and mom, and somebody that I always cherish in my life. And I was talking to her, and I was like, "Man, I'm getting close to 100,000. I think I was at like 85 at that time." And I was like, I want to be able to change my content somewhat." And it was kind of moving that way a little bit, right? Um, in some aspects, but still just being goofy. And she was like, "Well, what do you mean?" and stuff. And I was like, I feel like if I have that many people and I have my story, right? Like I need to share it in some way that can hopefully make an impact. So at the beginning of this year, I really started pushing my content, like real, like a lot, like a bunch, just flooding it with
yeah,
15, 20 videos a day, not caring, just keep on pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And it's evolved, where, to be honest with you, man, I started doing it because it saved my life. And the 2024 was probably one of the hardest years for me ever. And I came into 2025 broken, barely dragging myself into the year of my own doings. Okay, make sure I say that right. It's because of me. That's how I came into the year. And I started writing. I started getting back into writing some poetry and stuff, and sharing, and people that were affirming me through social media. Uh, I started to believe in myself again. Also with my parents, and that's how it's kind of transpired. I talk about when I go live sometimes that I think that in humanity we have three things, right? This is my opinion. Okay, all these are my opinion, right? If you don't like it, right, eat the chicken, spit out the bones, right? If it doesn't apply, let it fly.
Yeah.
All I can share is my experience in it and my thoughts, right? So I'm I think that the three things, right? We all want to be accepted and loved. Okay. So I talk
Boom.
a lot about love, right? I
Yep.
talk a lot about love and wanting to find love or losing love, which leads me into the second one. We've all been rejected and hurt. Somewhere in our life, something has happened to where, whether it's in middle school or something, right? We didn't get the job. We wanted the job. We had a letdown, right? A demoralization in life. Okay. The other third thing is that we want to laugh and smile, like you mentioned already previously, a couple moments ago, and so those three things, man, is what I try to be. What is my message on my TikTok? It's real, raw, and relatable, and sharing that that those things can commonly unite. Like fitness, that's a niche, right? Fitness is a niche. Fashion is a niche.
Yep.
Tattoos are a niche. Cars are a niche, right? These are all niches. So I wanted to try to find something that was universally across the board common ground that could connect every single person. And no matter what you're into, when you hear it, you're like, oh shit, like that affects me. And so that's how it's turned into, man. It's really blowing my mind, to be honest with you, brother. Like the support of what's been happening in it, and how things are gaining traction in it for me is exciting. It's scary. It's nerve wracking.
Oh yeah.
But it's yeah, but it's also uh I'm loving it. I'm really liking it. I'm falling in love with myself, and really starting to continue to believe in what I think my purpose and destiny is, you know? So yeah, that's how it got started, was a vain attempt for the neck, and then the universe said like, well, just keep doing this, and you just keep working on you, Jaron, and watch how we transform this. Watch how we transform the original idea of selfishness and narcissisticness into completely outside of yourself, realizing that you're only going here to help people, right?
Yep.
Like the transformation, the complete 180 of the purpose to the purpose, right? When I'm just saying that out loud to you now is pretty it's pretty remarkable to me, actually. And I don't mean to bag or boast or pat myself on the back, but yeah, it's crazy how it went from seeking attention to trying to help. We'll say that.
That is, I think we have a similar path, like I was, down. I was, mentally down in 2020, and, just needed to laugh, and it wasn't seeing what I needed to laugh. So I made what I wanted to see, and I made what made me laugh, and along the way, it was probably like, yeah, look how many people follow me, wow, let's be cringy and shit like that. And for the little while there, it was like posting just to post, right? It was like,
Right?
gotta have 2-3 out a day, and I started getting recognized outside of that, with the mall and stuff like that. And I thought, that was pretty cool, like, oh, people
Yeah,
recognize me, right? Well, fuck yeah,
yeah,
whoa, big dog on campus, right? And then
right, yeah,
it went to, I think a big moment. It changed a little bit before this, but a big moment for me is when a derrick hand climbed down off the derrick when I was on site one day, and
right,
he came up to me and he shook my hand. And he's like, "Just want to say thank you, brother." And he shook my hand. I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "Giving the boys something to laugh when we feel like crying, giving something to laugh at when it's -40 out, something to laugh at
yeah,
when we're home, And I'm like, "Shit, dude, I never even, you're fuck. All right, cool, that's awesome, man." And then then I started taking it more seriously, right? It was kind of like, you know what, I am having a good time doing this. I'm saying all the things that we've gone through, that I've been said, things that have been said to me, things that I've said, things that I've seen, things that I've been a part of, and I'm gonna turn it into, fun and comedy, right? And it just kind of went from there, And I think that's amazing. And that's huge. And
yeah,
just talking about men's mental health. Or mental health in general. I've been talking about mental health on this podcast since episode fucking 2, and
Right.
this is going to be 131 straight weeks, man. We've been talking
That's
mental health.
awesome.
This
That's
isn't just, it's June. Let's talk about it. This
Yeah.
is, we live this 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And it was, I knew something was wrong. I knew I was struggling with something, and I didn't know what it was until this year, right? And so I was walking the walk, or talking the talk, but not walking the walk, right? And now I can, proudly say, I've got my shit figured out. Maybe not entirely figured out, but I'm working on my shit, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's the whole, that's the whole thing, is that being transparent in the journey,
yeah,
right? I think a lot of the times people are scared to be transparent in the journey, but for me, that accountability in the journey continues to keep me going forward, right?
yeah,
Like, I think people need to know that where they're at, people have been at that exact stage before, right?
yep.
And that they can understand that somebody can get in the trench with them, per se, and be like, look, man, I've been exactly there, exactly where you're at. I felt those exact feelings, and somehow I made it to tomorrow.
I'm on your TikTok account right now,
Okay.
and there's a video I saw.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this one.
Didn't dilute. I learned you could drown without even ever touching water. And the IV, oh God, the IV. It became a ritual. A syringe became a sermon. Each vein a confession. I wasn't shooting up anymore. I was just trying to shoot past whatever version of myself I still wanted to live. People say rock bottom is a place, but I say it's a mirror.
Oof.
It's seeing your own reflection with no pupils, just black holes that you used to call eyes. And yet, somewhere between the withdrawal sweats and the I'll quit tomorrows, I heard a whisper, not from the drugs, but from the dust I was made of. It said, you were born for more than survival. You were meant to break chains, not veins.
Oh, shit.
Now it's 2025. And for the first time, I ain't just clean, I'm called. I found purpose, not in the high, but in the healing, not in escape, but in impact. I speak now so others don't have to scream. I show my scars so someone else won't make new ones. Because I was once the junkie you crossed the street to avoid. But now I'm the voice some kid might hear before they choose the needle. And if my past has to bleed so someone else's future can breathe, so be it. I've turned pain into purpose, and this time, I shoot up dreams. I still have scars on my arm. Probably always be there. A reminder of the marks and the roads that I've traveled. And it's showing you that you don't have to go down the same path that I have.
Man, that's
Yeah, man. Sometimes I listen to that. It's like, is that me? I can't. I listen to it and I'll get emotional. Just listen. It's like, it sounds weird. Sounds real weird, but it's like I motivate myself in some of the things, and I talk about that of my cousin. Little tangent. My cousin worked for Red Bull, and he told me about a marketing technique that Red Bull had, and they created a character to try to hit a market. When he told me that, it kind of changed my whole perspective. So I created, at the first of this year, I created a Jaron in the future in my brain that had already been successful and was succeeding, and already gotten out of what I was struggling with and had chosen to go back to. And daily would talk to that person as if it was a separate person. Obviously, this is all in my head. And it worked. It's worked for me. Yeah, man, that needle to name. Yeah, it's that's my story, man. That's my story on paper, essentially, of the struggles that I've chosen to do, right? My path has been chosen by me. Okay, I had every opportunity and avenue to do the opposite, to go down the complete opposite road, and it was paved for me with purpose and prestige and everything. And I chose to do the other one. I chose to take it my own way. And it's been a long road, right? And we're on this path of healing and trying to attempt into through my journey, like we were kind of talking about, sharing that openly and honestly,
Yeah, let
raw.
your past bleed. Let your past bleed
Yeah,
so your future can shine through, or your truth can
yeah.
shine through. Yeah.
And just letting people know that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And obviously, when we're talking about substances, we're talking about some life implications, right? Because you never know if one more bump, one more use, one more thing could be the last one, especially in today's age, right? With all the stuff that people are putting in and not saying things, and you hear about all this stuff. So you never really know, but at the same time, to not to not shun those people, right? And to not look at them as far as for me to be able to know for somebody that's in that moment to know that I understand, right? I understand, I get it. Some people don't get the fact of staying stuck using and desperately not wanting to use. And I know to the normal person and to the normal head, and even sometimes to me, it's like, well, just you can just stop when it gets enough. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's sometimes it's just things that are bigger than that, and it's somewhat unexplainable to a degree sometimes. Um, thank God, thank the universe that what happened for me at 2020 in 2025 to be able to get out of where I was, to going through what I was happening. I just had some crazy things that happened that were able to just not for me to get into the trouble that I was supposed to be gotten into. Um, Blessed and highly favored. We'll say that, man. Blessed and highly favored. And to be able to get back to Texas from Delaware, which I was at the time, and just reestablish my kingdom, man.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's that poem has been. I remember I filmed that the other night, like probably about just over a week ago. And when I did it, I didn't. Sometimes it's weird with social media content. Like you don't know how it's going to be perceived. Sometimes you post it at a certain hour and you don't know what's going to happen. Something
Boom.
doesn't catch. Yeah, and it's just like, man, I don't really know if being this open is gonna, like how TikTok's gonna handle it, or what the message is gonna be received, and things like that. And that one, I'm getting a lot of encouragement on that. People saying, "Man, you're speaking my exact story." And I think that's what it's about for me to be able to be transparent, right? And to be able to, for me, is that look, man, this is just my 2 cents on it, Dick. I don't give. We'll not cuss. I don't care at this point now in my life. I don't care what people are going to say.
Yeah.
I just want to share. It's not about them anymore. It's about my life, right? So if it's making me better by sharing it, I hope that it helps somebody else. You're always going to have a person that's going to hate, even when you stay quiet,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I might as well do something and be happy doing it, and understand that there's always going to be the negatives, naysayers, you
Yeah,
know?
man.
So yeah,
100%, dude.
I'm glad you
100%.
like that, man. That makes me feel good, to get that affirmation, right? To know that that it's
Yeah.
making that it's making an impact.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the video I first saw. That video come across my FYP, and then you were live at the time, so I'm like, I watched it. I'm like, oh, he's live. So I went into the live, and then I listened to you talk. I thought, oh fuck yeah, man, this guy's pretty cool, right? And then I went down and watched a bit more of your content. I hit the follow button, and then I reached out to you. I'm like, fuck yeah,
yeah,
I got podcast, man. I like your content. Want to come on? And you're like, fuck yeah, man, let's do it, right? So here we are today, man, and like.
yeah,
I like your poems, dude. You do a lot of the poem thing, and
yeah.
have you seen or heard of the Blue Collar Poet on TikTok?
No, I haven't at all. I haven't seen or heard. So no to both the questions.
He's coming on the podcast right away
Okay.
here. We've been talking. The Blue Collar Poet, man. He's fucking good shit, man. He's got a lot of things that when you hear, you're just like, oh my god, like. I to get it off my mind, I worked this many hours today, but that didn't help. And like
Right.
just like that. Just
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't really say 100%. I can't go word for word, but like I
yeah.
saw him. I think I found him the same day I found you, man. I was just
Oh,
like,
that's
yeah, my FYP was just spitting inspiration at me that day.
awesome. That's good. That's good shit, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff. Yeah, I've been.
Um,
I used to write. I used to write lyrics. I rapped
you
in a
were
band a long time ago, man. And I did some humanitarian work. We'll call it that. I like to do real loosely as far as for religious things like that. I don't want to deter anybody by me saying a certain sect or religious creed, right? And then all of a sudden it turns people off. So we'll say some humanitarian work, and within that humanitarian work, there was writing of music and did some rapping for that. And then I got away from it.
Get those videos on your TikTok?
I don't, man. I need to find them though. I could probably find it. Man, I was just actually talking to my cousins too. We got some videos back in like the early 90s before Jake Paul and Logan Paul ever did YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Of like, my cousin's name was Jacob Filthy Water, and I want to look so good, and like, and indeed I do. Like we were weather anchormen and stuff. Like just some crazy shit that I need to find somehow. But I was trying to find it on YouTube the other day of the video of me rapping, and I couldn't find it. It was on a subway train in New York, is what the one of them was. Nothing crazy. Nothing. It's, I would say almost cringy now for me personally, right? Looking back at it. But yeah, and then I stopped writing, right? I lost that aspect of me. And really just got back into it, recently this year of just like being like, okay, you know what? It's a way for me to be able to channel things, and almost like, we're talking about therapy, right? And I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's almost like a detachment therapy. So once I'm able to put something on paper, I'm able to disassociate those emotions per se with those memories. All right. So then I can remember it without per se having that humiliation, that guilt, that remorse, that regret, all of the stuff that I've failed at, to cause those things. And then it's been a healing journey for me. So that's why I started doing it, man. And it's been pretty well received. So
That's good.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, I got a question for you. Do you know what viscosity is?
Dude, no, not off the top of my head, but that's a good word, and I know I've heard that word before.
So it's like the a fluid's resistance to flow, right? It's like the thickness of a fluid, right?
Okay.
And so where I'm going with this, the podcast is sponsored by the Mudman. You know, I love the Mudman.
Hey, yeah, Mudman. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mudman on the rig. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know the Mudman. Yeah, the mud guy. Yeah, but the mud engineer always coming in to dump stuff more in the water and make it more sludgy and all that stuff. Yeah, no, I know the mud engineer.
Mudman is good shit. You know, he's been sponsoring the podcast for 2 years, and I reached out to him the other day actually, and I'm like, man, I just want to thank you, dude. You know, looking back, it's been a year since he helped the podcast in the biggest way he's ever helped it. Exactly a year, actually. And, you know, and he's like, man, I can't believe it's been a year, dude. And then, you know, we got talking. He actually started talking about how he could possibly help again next. And I'm like, dude, that would be incredible. You know, I've been talking about this for a while, but, you know, for all your drilling fluid and laboratory testing equipment needs, you know, the Mudman's got your back. Hey, Jaron, how thick is your load?
Well, I can't have any kids if you want to ask that. So,
hey, maybe it's too thick then, you know, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
www.mudmanmarket.com, man. You know, this guy's been amazing. You know, I don't know how I got so blessed to have a guy like that follow me on the socials. For one, that's where he found me. He found me on the socials, and then we were talking, and then he's like, hey, you got a podcast, man. He's like, you know, 5, 6, 7 episodes in, he messaged me. We got to talking. By episode 14, he was sponsoring it. And we were supposed to go on a 5-episode run. It was supposed to be a 5-episode run. And here we are 120 episodes later, 120 weeks later, you know, and you know, shout out to that guy. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's crazy how much social media can open doors and connect people that would have never been connected, right? And to use that, you know, I've seen in my life that's just been happening crazy. So that's dope. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm blown away by it, man. You know, the amount of cool shit I've gotten to experience and do off social media. You know, for one, I've made a cool amount of money off of social media that I'm not even trying to do. I'm just here having fun, and like Facebook pays pretty good, and I'm just like, I'm not even looking at that aspect. I'm just like, hey, you know what? I get paid off it, but like, because once you start adding money to something, it becomes like a job, and then it adds a whole new element to it. So I'm trying to, you know, take that element out of it, but the money's cool. And then, you know, it's led to the podcast and the cool people I've got to talk to on the podcast. Like, you know, The guy from Wicked Tuna was on the podcast there.
That's cool. That's cool.
Dave Marciano. I've had like some really cool people on this podcast, man. And Ed the Sock. I don't know if you remember Ed the Sock. I had him on, and taught hand puppet from Much Music back in the day.
Okay.
I've had some really meaningful and deep connections on the podcast. I've got to collab with some restaurants and make videos for them, and that's so cool, man. And I don't think I've paid for a t-shirt or a hat in a couple of years, which is that's pretty
awesome.
Cool,
that's nice. Yeah. I actually just had two apparel companies pair with me in donation and stuff. So there's no signing of a contract or anything like that, but message them about my purpose. Shout out to Tattooed and Successful and Kill Crew. Those two companies right there. Also 2 Savage sunglasses. So those three companies, right, have really helped me out. And it's nice to see when things believe in you, right?
What's your 2 Savage code?
Jaron 10.
Jaron 10. I'm with Heat Waves.
Okay.
Yeah. They nothing against 2 Savage. They reached out and I kindly declined. I was like, man, I'm with Heat Waves. I can't. For one. And then, my boss just happened to go and spend $800 on fucking 2 Savage glasses and gave them away as safety rewards. And I'm like, I'm acting the most unsafe now, right? Like, I ain't getting no safety. Yeah, I ain't getting any safety. And I go and break my ankle, right? Like, shit, like, I really dedicated the part, I really dedicated, to not getting them sunglasses. You know what? I'm not going to be safe. Break the ankle. No sunglasses for me, sir.
Yeah, no, not at all. I'm not participating in that. They were the first company to my stuff has kind of been reached out to other companies, right? Just like, again, one of those things are just like swallowing the pride and be like, hey, look, right? And people have jumped on board. They said, man, we believe in the message. We believe in what you're doing, right? I've got a trip that I was trying to get to Australia. Australia denied my visa in 36 hours.
I was going to bring it up.
So we're going to Ireland now. So we're still So we're still raising money for that. There's no visa that needs to be done, even for a convicted felon, as long as you got an active passport with no warrants.
Yeah.
So Ireland's the place. And trying to launch, like you were kind of talking about, is social media and making money, right? Like my dream would be to be able to share my experience, strength, and hope through fashion, through fitness, through faith, eventually, and giving my story with travel, food, the things that I love to do, right? And get paid for that, with making a drastic difference on people's lives, and to be able to have financial freedom so that the people that have blessed me and have been donating to this cause for Australia, / now Ireland, which has just been blowing my mind, the support that I've gotten from that, to be able to do that same thing for somebody else, right? To see that person that says like, hey man, look, I got a dream and I'm struggling to get there, and say, look, here you go, bam, and getting them that first step into the direction that they're going. That's ultimately what I want to be able to do. So yeah, man.
I saw the Australia thing, and then I saw the video that said you didn't get it. So I was going to bring it up, and then you did, and no, that's a lot of fun, man. Australia is definitely on my bucket list. I want to go down under.
Yeah, and I've been to New Zealand. Like I said, I traveled doing humanitarian work. So from like 2007, 2009, kind of stayed all over the world: Thailand, Malaysia, England, Wales, New Zealand. I've been to Italy and stuff, but nothing recent. That's like 2009. But essentially what this is, because everybody says like, oh, you're doing a vacation. You're doing a vacation. Why is it it's not a vacation, it's a trip. And essentially the best way that I can compare it to is like if you're a designer and you have your first collection, right? And you need X amount of funds to raise to be able to put that collection out. This would be that first collection of mine. Me as a brand launching myself into a different niche, putting it more on a big stream and doing something vast and crazy, right? If you knew me, it's from getting, we'll just speak real briefly, right? I talk about it all the time, from getting arrested on December 11th and in my driveway on the way to, when I got out of my truck, was what I was going to do was attempt to end my life. That's what was happening. I just got out of the hospital in 36 hours and I was not doing good in life at all. And I had what I needed to do and the amount that I needed in order to end my life. And the cops followed me for miles into my driveway, and they arrest me in my driveway. From that moment to this moment, just craziness. It's just like how things can change, and so like with just even that little snippet, man, it's like to share people that dreams come true, man. You know, dreams come true, and people can change, and things can happen like that. And you just got to believe and not care what anybody thinks, man. I know it sounds so cliche and so like catchy and bumper stickery, right? And somewhat cringy. It's like, oh, dreams come true, you know? But it's like, dude, I mean, I'll use the phrase tickled pink. It's just crazy to me, man. It's crazy. So, you know, all the stuff that's happened is just like, it's awesome. So it's a launch of me really walking into what I believe is my destiny and calling. Right. And I've had over 75 people believe in that cause and donate financially towards it, other than just the other hundreds of people that have followed, liked, commented, shared the post, any and every way, right? The massive support that people have been continuing to give. It just blows my mind.
Isn't it wild that you get more support from strangers on the internet than you do from people in your actual life, dude? I've noticed that over the last 5 years on social media that I've been on there now, that, you know, like strangers will come together for you,
dude,
and rally around you more than people that know you.
Dude, it is wild. It is wild. And some of the donations that have happened, we're so close. I'm so close to having the entire thing being able to be launched. Again, I'm just believing by July 1st, everything's going to wrap itself up. We raised funds, we got airfare, and then the final step was be hotel. So we're working on that aspect of it, right? And just believing and just know that that's going to happen, right? And it is crazy that people you don't know, you've never met, hear your story and say, I believe in you. I believe in you so much that I'm gonna donate money to you. Like, that's trust right there.
So this episode comes out on July 1st, actually.
Okay. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
So will you be gone July 1st?
No. Mm-mm. So the plan right now is I've looked to go. It's August 11th is when I would fly out to Ireland, and probably fly back. The dates I'm looking at is the 18th. So fly out the 11th, and I'd get there the 12th the morning, and I fly back. But I have a job, right? So I got to be able to put some time off and request that ahead of time, right? And because the dream's not fully in fruition right now, right? I'm not generating an income off of it and everything like that. So, so I just believe though I don't know why, man. I've been saying it I've recorded a Snapchat of me. I just said July 1st. I don't know how. And I don't know how it's going to happen and in what way it's going to happen, but it's going to happen, and everything's going to be able to be provided. Right?
So here's a question for you now then.
Yeah.
This episode comes out July 1st. Is there a deadline on July 1st that you need to know? Because I can put this episode out the day before July 1st, or I can put it out anytime during the day on July 1st, but it usually goes up around 4:30, 5 o'clock p.m. my time. But if there's a deadline, I could put this episode out at any time, and you could spit out what your Venmo or PayPal is or whatever, and see if we can help a little bit.
Yeah, man. If you want to, there's not really a deadline on it, and I don't really know why I came up with that date. It just popped into my head, July 1st, right? It just was there. But yeah, we'll do the Venmo. We can do that. So it's if you want to. So it's my name, Jaron, Jaron. My last name is Lyle, Lyle, with a -1. So Jaron-Lyle-1. That's for the Venmo. I had a GoFundMe. That's also been reached, but obviously with the money that's going to the Venmo, that's 100% mine, and all those proceeds go to it. If you guys looked up on my TikTok, though, for Jaron Lyle, you search that. It has my GoFundMe link in there. It has my American Airlines Advantage Mile if you wanted to donate miles for the flight. Still kind of needing some help with that. And then it also has the Venmo in there. So at this point right now, I'm again waiting on the hotel. Somebody asked me in the live today, they're like, well, how much money do you need? And I said, man, look, you want me to be transparent? If no one paid for it or anything like that, like $2,200. $2,200. And some of it sounds big, but it's really not really, right? And that would take care of everything. And I just believe it's going to happen, man. Like, so many things have happened already so far that it's like it's not going to not happen. And again, I don't know how.
You're 2,200 away.
Yeah, and I could. That's what the hotel would be. and to make sure that, so I got somebody at this moment right now, okay? I had somebody that's committed and said that they're going to transfer air credit money, right? So there's a commitment, right? But it's one of those things, don't ever count your chickens before they hatch.
Absolutely.
I believe it's going to happen. So I talk about it as if it has, but it hasn't. So if you factor that in there, plus what the 7 nights of the hotel would be, right? If a hotel doesn't donate, which is the next goal, is to get a Hilton or a hotel chain to be like, look, we believe in this. You're going to give us publicity. We believe in what you're wanting to do for the content. We'll donate this or give you 50% off the room or something like that, right?
That could work.
Yeah. So that's what I've been trying to do, and getting that, because I don't want to. I started with it, brother, and I came up with a number that was uneducated and unresearched financial number. Okay. And when I came up with that number, I was like, yeah, that'll get me to Australia. And then I sat down and saw everything. I was like, no, it won't. Well, the last thing I want to do is continue to say like, hey, I want more money. I want more money. I want more money. Right. I don't want to do that. So what I started doing once that GoFundMe got hit, every time somebody gives financially, I give an announcement and a shout out to them. But I also make sure that I let everybody know.
I think I saw that in your live today. I saw that in your live today. You shouted someone out, or you said someone's name. Yeah.
Yeah. So financially, the goal has been hit. If you guys feel in your heart to continue to give to that, awesome. All I've asked is that you tag American Airlines in the post, and that then we're going to tag a hotel in the post. That's all I'm asking, is for that support. Anything above that, you guys have, my people that are following me have already done it. And last night and today, some people donate. One lady donated 35,000 American Airline miles to me. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, for the flight that I was looking at for the round trip, it's like 75,000 plus $50. So we're almost there, right? I mean, it's just crazy stuff that's happening. And another two different ladies have given $1,000. And like I said, I needed 3,500 people to give 75 cents, and it's taken 77 people to get where we're at today. So, the way that it is, I just believe, man. I just believe, and it's the start of something that I'm so extremely excited about and called to, and just feel like now's the time, right? Now's the time.
Absolutely, brother.
Oh yeah, man.
Now, right now, you're starting to realize, the greatest drug you've ever had is hope and belief.
That's it, man.
Yeah?
That's it. And a bunch of people want to talk crap about it, right? A bunch of people want to get on the page, and like, I get messages all the time of like, why can't you do it this way? Da, 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 da. And again, like we've mentioned, man, is that people are always going to hate, but this is what I have to believe, right? I believe in me, my full transparency. I try to be extremely transparent in every single thing that I'm doing, and be open and raw about that, so that people know where I'm at and what I'm doing in my life, right? And then also know in my heart, right? I know in my heart, and the people that really truly follow me and know, those are the ones that matter, right? I was talking about it in the live. It's like, you could have 10,000 people that say this is a stupid idea. And if you get 5 people to believe and give financially, it can completely unlock it.
Crazy.
Oh, you need 5. You just need the right 5. Right? And the right 5 completely goes against the 35,000 people that told you it was stupid.
Yeah.
So, each day I get more excited. Again, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to look like. But I just believe, again, we'll just put it out there. July 1st, I just think that everything's going to be, all the doors financially that are needing to happen, and everything that's needed to be done to go above and beyond of what my expectations were to be able to fully do it. It's going to happen, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Man,
yeah.
I'm going to put this out. Okay. I'm going to put this out like early on the 1st, then like early, or I'll put it out fucking midday or some shit,
Yeah.
And fucking, yeah, we'll put it out then, and, we'll see, if we can get more for you, dude. That's
awesome,
gonna be, dude. I want to help, I want to help. And if, helping is doing like this, or I'll tag some stuff too, and I'll start, reposting some of those videos as well, man. Like this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, any bit helps, man. Any bit helps, because you never know who it's going to get in front of, right? You just never know. And the two craziest things that I've had is when I went live, and the live only had like 40 people in it, and one lady said, "Well, how much more money is the GoFundMe?" Okay, and so then she asked this question. She goes, "If you hit the GoFundMe, are you leaving tomorrow?" And a lot of people would probably say like, "Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm going to leave tomorrow. I can book it tomorrow." And I said, "I want some honesty." No. Number one is this: I didn't believe that anybody was going to donate to this. Number 2 is I still have a job. I can't quit it. Number 3 is I still got to get a visa, which I didn't apply for the visa yet before I launched this idea because I thought this idea was a facade. I thought nobody is going to believe in me. Nobody.
You put it out there, and the internet came through.
Dude, blew my mind. So I was like, oh shit! It, like what I really wanted to do. People believed in that too, and so there was a lot of catching up. And again, like I said, the visa got denied, but it's okay, right? It's just a different place, a different stage. Same thing, it's just a different stage. So yeah, man, it's but I told her no. I said I can't. I want to be able to do it. This is realistically when I can. And she goes, okay. And I got off the live and checked the Venmo, and she had hit the financial rewards. The lady gave $2,200.
Nice.
Yeah. So nice. I mean, things like that, right? So like, again, the trip would be threefold, right? To where the funds, like I said, it's a release into making content on a scale and being able to do that, right? So that's what the funds have gone to. I'm real transparent in that. Then getting the flight to get there so the funds don't interact with the flight, and then getting the hotel to have a place to stay, right? So that all encompassing, right? And that kind of transformed and folded out. I wish I would have thought about that at the very, very, very start, so I could have played that out a little bit more. But again, I think it goes back to this, is that I wasn't trying to get over on anybody. I'm not trying to get over on anybody, right? Yeah. It's just, I'm being transparent and raw in it and saying like, this is just still what we need. And people, it's crazy, right? The universe, again, I say the universe, I hope that I don't piss anybody off in it, but I just want to speak real loosely on the higher powered God thing, but it's just crazy how things and doors open up that are beyond your control, right? It's like, I call them guiding lights, essentially. When I was in humanitarian work, that's what they call them. And it's just like door after door after door after door opens. So it's like you can't help but continue to walk through it, right? It's like a vacuum to you. Like, it's like, well, shit, if this is happening, like, okay, I believe, until all of a sudden, nothing can deter you from that belief. So, yeah, I get excited. I get excited talking about it, man. I go on and on.
I know. I love it, man. I see the passion. That's why I'm just like sitting here listening to you go on it, man. Because like, dude, I love this shit. Like you find this is how I got Dave Marciano from Wicked Tuna to open up. At first, I thought I was a burden to him, right? And this guy's taking time out of my day. And then we got talking about what was passionate to him, which was ocean dumping. And then the guy just fucking. I thought we were doomed 20 minutes in, and then later, and this guy's just like ocean dumping, like they're killing our oceans, man. We thought, and no, man. And afterwards, he's like, "Thanks for having me on, man. I really." And at first, it was just, and that's just how Dave is, though. You can tell even on the show when he's talking, like you just tell, like this is never what he wanted to do. This is not. It's just something that fell in his lap, and he ran with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been crazy, man. It's been crazy. I get excited about it. I think you got to be passionate and excited about what you believe in, right? And it makes other people also get excited and passionate about it. So,
well, I've noticed that too, right? This past summer, or not this past summer, sorry. The start of last winter, I got a new job. I had a job that I worked at for 7 years, and I hated it, but I got comfortable, right? And I finally got something new. My new boss was a follower of mine on TikTok and was actually a content creator himself, but he didn't make videos anymore. He's like, I'm out of it, right? And we remained in touch, same industry and everything. And he asked me if I wanted to come work for him, and I'm like, fuck yeah, man. He gave me the details, the money. I was home more, making more, working less hours. And I was like,
yeah, it's a win-win-win.
I'm in, and I get to site. And I start making videos, right? And everyone on site recognizes me, like, there's Dick Frost is on site, man. Holy shit. Right. And in camp and stuff. So he starts making videos. My supervisor starts making videos. All my coworkers that were already kind of sort of doing it, but had put it away for a little bit, they start making videos again. They're like, yeah, man, you just inspired everybody here to just start making videos again. I'm having fun with it, right? I'm here, I'm making fun, I'm making it look fun. They had lost their interest or spark in it, and they were just like, nah, man, I caught the fever when I saw you doing it. So we started making videos together. We started collabing, man. And honestly, like those first couple months, dude, like my videos popped off because we got together. We made good collaborations, and they were funny. The one guy, he does not have a big following at all. and like his ideas were just fire though. He
That's
like,
crazy how some of that happens. And I see that stuff pass on my FYP, and I'm like, man, that's good. That's a good thing, right? And
yeah,
I've used some people's captions, and my video took off. And I'll give him the caption credit.
yeah.
I just messaged a guy just the other day. He's been popping up on my FYP, and I don't know his name right now, so I can't give him a shout out. But I messaged him and I said, hey man, as another man, I've been seeing your stuff pop off. Like, I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. Can I use your stuff? And because it's good stuff. And obviously I have a way bigger following, so it would help him, right? Because he's being tagged in it, but it also helped me because my brain doesn't think. When I see it, I'm like, that's fire, but I don't think about it, right? It's just out of my element. So yeah, no, I understand that some people just have that knack.
You tagged him in it though the other day?
I haven't made one of his videos yet.
Oh, okay.
I haven't taken one of his captions, but I'm going to. I'm just waiting to see. His songs are fire. That's the thing too. Is like the sound that he uses. Like, I know the songs, I just don't ever think of them. And I'll watch like 20 videos of his, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember that song. Oh my god, like it brings that nostalgia back.
Man, you're gonna have to let me know his name, man.
Yeah, man, let me look it up right now.
Here, I made a video today, and I took a song that's pretty popular right now, and I'm listening to it with my wife. My kids are singing it, and I'm like, I got an idea, but after you gotta drive me somewhere. But we gotta go home first. We gotta get my high vis, and you gotta drive me somewhere, right? And so I made this one, and it's doing pretty good all over the internet right now. Here, it's it's like when the drug testing place hires a new person. And I'm outside the drug testing place, and I'm like, I don't want to get undressed for a new person all over again, right? And like, yeah, man, it's doing all right all over the internet right now. It's only been up for a couple hours,
so his handle is Quentin Carlisle. Quentin, yeah, Quentin Carlisle, Carlise.
Check him out.
Yeah, and I think he looks like he's in some sort of blue collar ish job. Because he looks like he's at a machine shop of some type. But I really haven't talked to him. But he's got some of the stuff though, man. It's just it's a lot. Yeah, he's got a hard hat on him. Bass Pro Shop. It looks like a machine shop anyway. But a lot of his stuff is geared toward more like some snappy relationship type stuff and stuff that kind of just hits and some catchy stuff, and it makes me laugh. It made me, I noticed it, right? So like, if I notice something and it brings, like, I'm like, man, that's a good idea. Shout out to somebody. Like, I wish somebody would do that for me. You know what I mean? Put me on, right? Like, if you don't take the credit, give the glory, right? And one of my favorite quotes is a guy from the man. I don't know if he made it, but this is where I heard it from. The creator of Tattooed and Successful. I heard him in an interview on a podcast, and I don't know his name right now, but again, Tattooed and Successful is the company. And he said, when the water rises, so do all of the boats, right? And how I took that quote anyway is that to not be scared of people outdoing you, right? But to continue to raise the level so everybody succeeds and everybody gets a piece, right? If it's booming, then it's booming, right? Don't be selfish and try to hold everything out, because there's so much to go around for every single person. And to not think necessarily that if I bring up the water that I'm going to get outdone, right? I think that the universe is always going to reward me. That's just maybe my belief in it.
Isn't that like rising tides raises all boats, right?
Essentially, yeah.
I've heard that quote before. Yeah, I've heard that.
So like, if I'm succeeding, to believe that everybody else succeeds, and sometimes you get people that are real selfish in that success, right? And they don't want to share it. They want to just focus on themselves. But like, publicity is good publicity for everybody, and when somebody over here is succeeding, it can have a ripple effect into me, and everything can work out. So yeah, I like that. And I like to give shout outs to people that when I see something that made an impact of any kind on me, be able to give some recognition to that person, because you never know how it's going to change. And you never know that small little recognition for somebody down the road. You don't know what's going to happen to that person and how that's going to play out for you. Right.
Exactly.
You just never know. Right. So not done in a selfish way for me, but it's also just, like good gets good.
With kind of like the podcast, right? Like, I have all these blue collar workers, or you don't even have to be blue collar at this point. I like your content, right? But like, you know, I have all these people on my podcast, right? And it's like, well, yeah, some of them don't have much of a following or any following, or some of them aren't even on the internet, right? And it's just people that I think that are cool to talk to. And, you know, maybe, you know, I have, you know, followers all over the internet that don't know who you are yet, or maybe
Right?
they
Yeah.
do. You know, there's a bunch that don't, right? And so, you know, through this conversation, like, man, this guy sounds like someone I'd like to follow, right? Boom, I
Right.
get you followers. I make some videos, I share them out. Maybe you talk about being on the podcast. You shine some light on me. We're shining lights on each other, man. You know,
Yeah.
and maybe
Well,
I get
my goal with it is I've been talking about it, right? That this is a big, for me, brother, this is a big deal, right? This is the first time ever someone's asked me to be on a podcast. I've always thought it'd be so dope, right? So like, this is like the first of what I believe. Again, like when I talk about crazy things are happening, it's just crazy, right? So I believe this is just the first of just a launching and just a complete opening of floodgates, right? Like I fully believe that, manifesting that, and putting that for manifestation. But yeah, man, I want this podcast, right, to be the most watched podcast.
Oh fuck,
Right?
let's do it. Let's do
Like
it.
I want the most views on your YouTube that you've ever had on a podcast to be this one,
Let's
right?
go. I'm
Like
in.
that's the goal, right? That's the goal because it's the message, right? It's the message. We already talked about it, mental health, which affects everybody in some form or fashion. Talked about chemical dependency, which has affected the most people, whether it's you or somebody you know very close to you, right? Has had a battle or a struggle, or it's seeped its way into families somehow, some way. Um, and there's a story of redemption, right? There's a story of redemption and a story of grace. And you know, that change is possible, brother. So, you know, I hope, man, that's the goal, right? This is the number one viewed podcast you had.
This is the first podcast you've ever been on, right? This is
Very
day
first one.
one is Dick Frost. Tomorrow, Joe Rogan. Bro, you're going places. Man. It started here, man.
Hey, man, look, I did have this dream where I haven't done it. I did it for just briefly, right? But I was going to tag Theo Vaughn in every post that I did, regardless of what it was about. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I love his podcast.
okay, because listen, shout out Theo Vaughn. Okay. Shout out, great story. Great story. I love his comedy stuff, and obviously how he's done from his life and turning it around and everything like that. And the mouthpiece that he has, I look up to that. It's an envious type thing, right? But I've listened to one of his podcasts one time, and shout out to the lady, right? Nothing against her, but she was a cat lady. She had a touring cat circus. Okay, yeah. And I said to myself, dude, if the touring cat lady can get a spot on Theo Vaughn, bro,
I have a story for you about that.
Bro, my story compares with the touring cat lady, right? Like, I just got to that to me, and props to her, right? Like a legitimate thing, right? But to me, it was like, dude, if that can happen for her, this is the biggest thing. The question I started asking, and David Goggins asked us, why not me? Why not me? You know?
Well, here's the crazy thing about that. I don't know if you know who Corey Rockwell is on TikTok.
No.
He's the only underground miner on the social media, right?
Okay.
Like you might see a couple other little ones, but this guy has full on permission from the mining companies, and from his videos have to go through like screening processes just to be posted. You know, like 8 people have to watch them just in case, you know, PPE's missing. There's something unsafe.
Yeah. There's all sorts of nuance that people don't understand about job sites and the agreement that we sign when we get hired on of filming content. Yeah, of content on job sites and things like that. So yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
So Corey Rockwell, he's on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. Look this guy up.
Okay.
So this comes out July 1st. I might be able to say it. I think it's July 7th. And it's not really my story to tell, but he says he can talk about it now. So Corey Rockwell got invited on to Theo Vaughn's show, and he's just a regular blue collar guy on TikTok. He's got, I think you might have more followers than him.
Oh, wow.
Maybe. Like let's see this. Man, Corey Rockwell, dude, like I've had him on the podcast. He's a phenomenal guy. When he told me that he was going on that podcast, I'm like, no fucking way, dude. Like,
That's
no
so
way.
crazy. Like even just to hear that about somebody makes me giddy. Like that excites me, dude. Like I get
How
like
many
cheese
followers
grit.
do you have? How many
100,
followers?
167.2.
He's got 169.5. This is Corey Rockwell right here.
Yeah, I just hit 167.2.
This is Corey
Okay.
Rockwell. He's got 169.5.
Okay.
And he's going on Theo Von's podcast.
That's dope. That's
right.
dope. That's like, when you hear things like when I hear things like that, a lot of man, I'll tell you this, I'd be real transparent and honest. Sometimes back in my life, I would hate on that. I'd be like, what the fuck does that dude have? Right? Like, especially as men, right? It's very easy to man shame somebody else, right? To put it down, right? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Now where I'm at in my life, it's like, dude, that's so fucking awesome. And if he can do it, I can do it. Like, we all got a story.
I'm looking at it the same way, but what I'm looking at is Corey Rockwell, right?
Who's on your podcast?
I'm blue collar, you're blue collar, he's blue collar, right? What's good for one of us is good for all of us. You know what I mean?
Like I said, man, when the water rises, all the boats do.
He's bringing a spotlight to our niche, to people like us, and he's talking about it on Theo Von. And you know what? 6 degrees of separation. He's been on Theo Von's podcast. The dude's been on my podcast. Man, you know what I mean? We're sharing screen time. And you know how hard it was when he told me that and we got to talking? You know how hard it was for me not to be like, bro, put in a good word for me. Tell him I want him on mine. Tell him I want to be on this. It was so hard. But right away, this is the kind of guy Corey is. I'm like, man, congratulations, bro. That's fucking huge. We were talking about, I'm like, congratulating. He's like, man, I'll tell him all about you, brother. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, just tell him I say hi, like that's all. Just tell him I say hi.
It's just silly fanness, just a straight fan moment,
Yeah. My all-time white whale for this podcast, my all-time bucket list guest is Mike Rowe. I'm trying so hard. I tried to get him on for episode.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I tried to get him on for episode 50. It didn't happen. I tried to get him on for episode 100. It didn't happen. I've reached out. I've tagged him in a fuck ton of videos. I've emailed him. I've called him. I've done it all, right? And like, oh, well, I heard, okay, well, he only goes on podcasts, makes appearances like that for like 200 grand is his price, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, that there would probably be a financial, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people use that as how they generate their money, right? So as a guest, they charge a fee, and that's how they earn a living, right? So I have heard of a couple of people like that. I didn't know it would be something like crazy like that, but that's cool.
Yeah. And
for him anyway, right?
Yeah, so I was thinking, man, that's never going to happen. But then he a few months later, this guy shows up on some nobody's podcast, right? I'm like, either you got a lot of money and you don't have a big podcast following, or you just got lucky, right? So I'm like, fuck it. I'm still going to try for Mike Rowe. I'm still throwing my line in the water and reeling in and throwing it out there, like, who knows? Maybe one day Mike Rowe's on the end of that hook,
Yeah, and dude, I've been posting these videos to this country singer, we'll say country. We'll go with country. This woman named Jessie. I don't know if you've seen these audition videos. She's got this. Okay, you have seen them. Okay, so Jessie Murph has this song, and it's called "Touch Me Like a Gangster," and I posted a video on it, and some woman in the comments was like, "You would be perfect to be in that video," and I was like, "Oh snap! Okay." Well, and then I believed it, right? Some people think it's like this infatuation. To me, it puts me in a group of people that have a big influence, right? And I don't even care what spot it is in the video, right? Just to be around people that have an influence, to where the bigger platform, the more people reach, right? That's what would be so dope about it. So yeah, we've had a campaign. I think today was day 12 or 13. Of making video submissions and tagging her in it. Now she's reposted 2 of my videos. I had to take one down that had my only 1 million view video hit 1 million views in 3 days. I had to take it down because it showed the job site, and my higher ups in the company saw it. And yeah, I know. So the only 1 million view video that I've ever had has been, it's in my private videos. She reposted another one of mine recently, and then she liked the video. But it wasn't one of the ones that I had tagged of the video audition. But again, man, again, it's the same thing kind of with you, like with Mike Rowe. It's like, you know what, I'll just keep tagging it. I wanted to give up on it. And be like, man, this is stupid. It's like never gonna happen, whatever. And people like in my live today, people were like, no, keep going, keep going. So you know what? We'll just keep going with it, and we'll just keep believing, man. Yeah.
That,
So
man. I
yeah,
love
I mean, what's it gonna hurt? What's it gonna hurt?
You know who follows me back on TikTok? And it took me 14 days of making videos and tagging her in them, being
Who?
like, hey, I'm on Rosie Watch. Rosie O'Donnell followed me back like 4 years ago.
That's cool.
It's cool to say that Rosie O'Donnell follows me, but it's Rosie O'Donnell. You know what I mean? Like,
Right?
she's been the worst friend ever. She doesn't like anything. She messaged me once.
Yeah, you think if like sometimes I'm like, why does this video only have 30,000 views if I have 160,000 followers? Like I should be at least getting 160,000 followers. Like that whole meme is like, why aren't you not famous? It's like because you're not liking my shit yet. Like you're not sharing my videos. That's why. That's why it's not famous. You guys are doing it. But it's weird how
because you.
yeah, it's weird how the algorithm works and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. My big fan moment right now was Tattooed and Successful followed me back, so that was dope. I don't know who, as far as for fame wise goes, of people that I'm aware of. I don't really know. I know you got a pretty good. I got a couple people with 100,000s and stuff, but I try to stay out of. I can get real caught up in it, right? And like look at who's following me and stuff, and then go down rabbit holes and everything. So I try to stay out of that right now and just really be focused on it. But yeah, I got a bucket list too. You know what I mean? Of like, people to follow and just be like, that's cool. That's cool.
Stone Cold Steve Austin liked one of my videos on Instagram last.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I was like, oh my
That's
God.
Awesome.
It was because it was a podcast trailer for one of the girls I had on who he works with.
Okay.
Right? And I had no idea she knew him. And I tagged her in the video, and I guess she reposted it or something like that. And he saw it and he liked it. And I'm like, oh my God, Stone Cold Steve Austin just liked my video, bro. No way. And then she brought it up. She's like, well, I can reach out to him. I'm like, no. Let me do it. I'm going to reach out to him. Let me get them myself. I can't call in these favors. Right.
Yeah.
And like, I think I messaged her like a couple months ago. I'm like, hey, I got to call in a favor here.
Yeah. I still dream of like when I'm posting these videos of the video submission and stuff. Like I like the belief in me, right? The little seed of hope, the mustard seed says like, I'm going to fall asleep. I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to see my inbox of a requested message. I'm going to open it up and it's going to be one of Jesse Murph's people. And it's going to be like, hey, we saw this. Like, we want to contact you, right? Like each night I go to bed with like that small little bit of hope. That's like, this could happen. This could happen. And so I mean, you never know, dude. You never know. And I'm a pretty like, I've posted like, I don't know, dude, probably like 60 different videos to it total of the song. So like, and whoever, whether it's her or somebody else, there's somebody very active on that TikTok account. So who's ever active on it, you see me and you're like, oh shit, here's this guy again doing another song. Here's this guy doing another video. Like, I'm not the person that you so easily forget when you see my face, because of, I got some markings on there. So, we'll keep believing, man. We'll keep believing and just knowing that, all having good fun, all having, keep doing the message and just saying that doors are going to open without me even understanding what's going to happen.
Yep. Well, brother, man, I don't want to end
it. We gotta go.
But I gotta get going and give the wife some cuddles here. She's messaging me. She's going to bed here soon. I don't got to work in the morning, so I mean, like, not yet. Anyway, it's coming. It's coming real soon.
Yeah.
I like to end the podcast by asking one last question there. And Mount Rushmore has 4 of the most influential people up on the rock. Yep. And if you had your own Mount Rushmore, 4 people that you looked up to, inspired to be you, that inspired you, dead or alive, real, not real, who would they be and why?
My father.
I kind of knew you were going there. You were heading that way. Pretty early on. Yeah.
Well, so when we say my father, because he's shown me the tremendous amount of grace and forgiveness, not just to me, but also if you know my parents' story. So my father himself, I would probably say Jordan Peterson, who's a college professor, and he does YouTube videos and stuff. I don't know if you've heard of him,
Yeah.
but I really like his motivational stuff. I would love to pick his brain about religion, about integrity, about morals, values, virtue. I would compare him to a very modern-ish day C.S. Lewis type thing. So that's what I would do. The next one would be C.S. Lewis, Dead or Alive, if you can go with that. I love C.S. Lewis books. Problem with Pain, Mere Christianity. Two of those books I've read them over and over and over again. So just somebody that, because I write, right, and somebody that's a linguist with words and description would be awesome. And I guess the fourth one of who I would want to my Mount Rushmore, man. Does everybody get stuck on like the last one?
Oh man, some people don't even get to two. Some people
really.
Dude, some people are like, I don't look up to anybody, bro, and then they just like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Now, so I guess if we'll just I guess right now it would be kind of Jelly Roll. I guess we'll go with that one.
Jelly Roll, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll go with that. And that's just off the top of the head. I bet if I sat down and thought about it a little bit more, I'd probably come up with somebody else. But somebody as far as for mainstream wise, that has a story, right? That connects with that chemical dependency aspect of it. Also a lyricist, a poet, essentially. And that aspect, yeah, that would be I think that'd be really, really cool to sit down and just have a lunch and stuff and just being like, just asking about a story. So yeah, we'll go with those four people.
Shout out to Carl, Tired and Frozen on TikTok. If he listens to the podcast, he's really gonna love that answer. He's going on a kick right now of making fun of Jelly Roll a little bit, and it's kind of funny. I'm laughing at it for sure.
If we did an honorable mention, the name that just popped in my head is Alex Hermosi.
Alex Hermosi, who's that?
Yeah, it's this guy on TikTok. He's a business entrepreneur guy. He talks about a bunch about business strategies and stuff, but he does a bunch of motivational things. Yeah, he does a bunch of motivational things, and now I'm going ahead of it. But then the last one, honorable mention, would be Alan Watts. Have you ever heard of Watts?
I've never. Who is that?
Alan Watts. He's American. That's an a bunch of Eastern philosophies and stuff like that. He's not existent anymore. But I used to do it. I had a friend that would do Alan Watt Wednesdays. So if you look him up on YouTube and you search Alan Watts, just his philosophies on life. And he specifically has an 8-minute clip on YouTube about love. You search Alan Watts love, it'll show an eyeball on it, real colored. And man, I've listened to that thing hundreds of times. Radically changes my life whenever I think about love. So yeah.
Text that to me. Text me.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. You don't know if you know much about Mount Rushmore, right? But like, some people have 2, some people have 3, some people want to have more. Well, Mount Rushmore was originally designed, and they look so small because, it was never intended to be just 4. The creator of Mount Rushmore, he intended to put more inspirational people that of purpose up on that rock as time went on. And then he got called off to one of the wars. He died. His son took it over, and just no one fit the bill for him. There was nobody that was worthy enough to put up on that rock.
Okay.
Afterwards, right? So we're stuck with 4, but there's always more. You can have more. Fuck it. It's your Mount Rushmore. You have as many as you want. You're the creator of this one, right?
Man, I'm gonna jump one more and then we cut it off. Matthew McConaughey quote, and I'd say the last one would be honorable mention is me 10 years from now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and speak that into existence. One of the people that I admire to be is me 10 years from now.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do that. I felt like that just popped in my head. I want to say that before we'll drop that mic right then on the end of the podcast.
I like that, man. Good for you. Man. No, that's powerful shit, man. Right. Thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Man, thank you so much for having me, brother. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure and a blast.
Number one in the books, man.
That's what we're going with. So I'll be announcing it all on my live and everything like that. So yeah, we'll get some views.
Joe Rogan's coming. He's coming. Maybe you might have to kiss a few more frogs first, but Joe Rogan's coming.
Somehow, some way, man. Somehow I believe.
Thanks for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate this, man. This is my baby. We're 2 years into her. We're having a good time. We're not slowing down. We're just getting better. So, thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for having me, man. We'll talk soon.
Jaron, you stay frosty, brother.
Hey, man, you stay fresh.
Yeah.